Hey there, Shrine Runners! Hello, and welcome to the Fox Shrine. I'm Araxis, your host, and tonight we're going to be playing some more Stories from Soul, the Gundog. Hey there, Kurobachi. Hey, Ada. Hey, Shoma. Hey, Senpai, welcome. Hope you're all doing alright. I'm doing reasonably well. Still got a little bit of a cough, unfortunately. And a little, like, I suppose like a little bit of like a sore throat or something. Like not quite a sore throat, but just like a little bit raw from coughing. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. As far as I know, I've still got the day off tomorrow, so Metaphor is still on, and I'm looking forward to playing some more Stories from Soul. This has been quite a fun game so far, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how things go, considering the actual plot seems to have started with the whole, a ship starting to a malfunction. So we'll follow up on that now, shall we? Alrighty then, let's get into it, shall we? Now, as per usual, do let me know if there are any issues, and we'll get this game underway, shall we? Alright. Over here. You place one foot right on the edge of the airlock hatch and stare out into the emptiness. You see nothing but stars, with light years of gulf between them and you. With your next step, you head out into the nothingness, pivoting on the axis of your foot at the edge of the airlock. The step that you took into space brings your foot back down on the Gundog's exterior hull. Even though the ship had fallen silent since its power had been knocked offline, that hadn't been true silence. There'd been the echo of your footsteps, the almost inaudible sounds of things other crew members were doing in the far-off reaches of the ship. Out here, all you could hear was your own breathing and the whine of the magnets. We've got the ship's radio, right? Like, we can at least be in conversation with the chief, right? You take a moment to orient yourself and turn 90 degrees to your right, angling yourself towards the front of the ship. With a little difficulty, you bring one foot up and away from the hull and place it back down in front of you. Spacewalks sound terrifying, considering you could easily just fall off and drift there for the rest of your existence until you run out of oxygen, being unable to do anything, assuming you've got no repellent or anything. Slowly but steadily, you make your way towards the hangar airlock. Still with us, Lieutenant Denacia? Haven't gone hurtling up into space or anything? Not helping, Vanessa! Roll your eyes as you plod forwards. Still here, Lieutenant Lord. Good, good. What's your ETA on the hangar airlock? You quickly do some rough maths around what you know about the Gundog's dimensions. Airlocks around the midpoint of the ship, 250 meters long. About 5 minutes, Lieutenant. This isn't a Sunday afternoon stroll at the replica gardens, Denacia. Pick up the pace! You allow yourself the opportunity to curse openly at Vanessa before hitting the push-to-talk button again. Yes, ma'am. You carry on the laborious march to the hangar's crew airlock, slowly heaving one foot at a time away from the ship's hull before placing it back down in front of you. There are a few awkward areas where the ship's hull rises or falls, and you have to navigate your way across them. The loss of a constant bearing begins to disorient you, but you march onwards, ensuring that you're heading consistently in a straight line, regardless of orientation. Eventually, you see the distinct markings that indicate an airlock hatch in the distance. Although it's marked in the same way as the one you'd emerged from, this one is much smaller, scarcely bigger than the typical doorway inside of a Gundog. You enjoy a momentary celebration, then pick up the pace. Alright, Chief. I'm at the hangar crew airlock. Okay. If you look to the right of the door, you should see an access panel with a lever underneath, just like the others. Okay. Let's see. Due to your orientation from standing on the ship's hull, the airlock entryway is laid out at your feet. You shift yourself to be able to look to the right and see the panel which you head over to and squat down in front of, running your fingers around its edges to find the now familiar recess. With a practice movement, you undo the clip. Unlike the panels inside the ship that freely come away, this one swings on a hinge, revealing the lever underneath. Hopefully this should be easier on a smaller hatch. You mutter to yourself, reaching for the lever. Chief? What is it? It's the lever. It's, You run your hand a few more times over the lever, which is visible, but inlaid into the hull, perfectly level with its surroundings. Whereas you'd been able to remove the panel cover by finding the recess, there was nothing like that here, making grasping the lever impossible. Just take your suit glove off, wedge your fingernails underneath and pull, right? Easy. Don't do that. I can't get any purchase on it. It's completely flush with the hull. There's no way to grip it. Chief? Lieutenant Lord, do you know what the current security code is? Of course I don't. They're like the emergency input codes. Only the captain or the second in command knows them. He's fucking used our anniversary, hasn't she? Why? Chief Engineer Cafes, I asked you a question. There's a moment of radio static, but you can hear the chief sigh through the crackle and distortion. In order to gain entry to an airlock from outside, you need to input the ship's security code into the number pad. It's an analog locking mechanism, but you still need that code. God damn it! God damn it! God damn it! God damn it! God damn you, miserable excuse for a captain! God damn you, Gwyn, you absolute airheaded bit! Hey! Watch yourself, Lord! Oh, shut up, Denacia! Because of your stupid bimbo girlfriend deciding that now is a great time to take a nap, I'm stuck on a dead ship running out of air, trying to herd you knuckleheads around on stupid, pointless errands! Stow it! I'm not a big fan of this either, but right now, we're the best hope this ship's got. So if you could put a lid on the gigantic bitch act for 5 minutes and help us figure out how to solve this, we can... How dare you? I said, stow it! 5 minutes, Lieutenant Lord. Once I'm on board, I can handle the rest of it myself. and you can go back to pretending you're the most important crew member. This is insubordination. I'll have... All right, you two. That's enough. Both you and Vanessa snap into silence with the chief's interjection. Before either of you can start up again, she carries on in a commanding tone. Lieutenant Lord, do you know how long the security code is? Do you know the punishment for addressing a senior officer like that? No, ma'am, I do not. But if it gets Lieutenant Denacia on board any sooner, I'll say it's worth it. Do you know how long it is? It's 4 digits. Thank you. Now, do you have any idea? Of course I don't have any idea. It's Quinn's responsibility to generate and set those kinds of codes. Oh, by the way, if you ever want access to my quarters, the passcode for the lock is our anniversary. It's pretty much the same passcode I use for everything. And I was smart enough to bloody write this down. I wrote this in my notes. It is in my notepad on the computer. It is 0211. Just in case the game doesn't actually tell you. I think I might know it. What? I said I think I might know it. It's... Rack your brain trying to remember the date where you and Cassie first visited the Europa amusement park. It was... Yeah, the game's gonna make us do it. God damn, I am a genius. 0211. Enter. You quickly punch in the 4-digit security code and then hit the enter key. As soon as you do, the lever rises out of its recess. Yes! You've got it, Lieutenant. It's a date! I got an achievement. Remember the ship's access code. Oh man, I am so glad I wrote that down. Like, it wouldn't have been so bad if I were just playing the game, like all at once. But, like, leaving it for a week, or 5 days or whatever, like, you're not necessarily going to remember that, right? So, I'm a genius. Yeah, it was 0211, in case that helps. And how did you know what the security code was? That is sensitive information. You don't want to tell Vanessa the reason you were able to guess the code. That was yours and Cassie's anniversary. So instead, you scramble for a lie. Oh man. Thank you, Cassie, for being so bloody insecure with passwords and using the same one for everything, even in serious situations. Thank you. Thank you for being hell on cybersecurity's ass. It's the passcode for Lieutenant Commander Quinn's quarters. I can't believe it. Codes are supposed to be secure. Could she? For the time being, Lieutenant Lord, how about we just focus on the fact that I'm able to get into the hangar? Shifting your position away from the number pad, you squat down by the raised lever. Taking it in both hands, you find it much easier to crank than the ones on the main airlock, and in no time at all, the exterior hatch of the airlock is open. As you step inside the ship, you find yourself in a chamber almost identical to the airlock you'd left earlier, with the exception that it was much smaller. Moving quickly now, you close the exterior hatch behind you and follow the inverse process you'd carried out to leave the ship, pressurizing the chamber with oxygen and opening the internal hatch. In a few short minutes, you're back inside the familiar space of the ship's hangar, and you remove your helmet, happy to be breathing something other than the suit's oxygen supply. You then disengage the electromagnets before removing the suit completely, making sure to take the radio with you. Now unencumbered by its bulk, and in the low gravity of the hangar, you gently drift towards the equipment storage, the uneasy silence surrounding you. Alright. Well, at least we've got our shotgun, right? I don't see Dalton anywhere. Wonder where he could be. Yeah, reactivate the Gundog, obtain the portable sub-terminal. Yeah. Has anything been added here, by the way? Just want to quickly go over this, see if there's anything that looks new. No, I don't think so. All good. Alright. Let's have a look around. None of that's doing me any good right now. I have to look through the crates by hand. Tools, equipment, and supplies. Portable sub-terminal the Chief mentioned should be in there somewhere. Guess I should get looking. I'll look in a moment. With the power off, that door's not going anywhere. Good thing that the crew airlock can be controlled manually. The armored frames are powered by an internal generator, so they're one of the few things on the ship that still work. Not much use though, since they'd need to tear their way out of the hangar to get anywhere. Right, so it probably wants us to use that, huh? I don't need to use one of those to find the portable sub-terminal. Hopefully, once I get the portable sub-terminal, I'll be able to travel through the ship normally and avoid another spacewalk. Yeah, none of that. Yeah, okay. So over here, let's see. That PST is going to be anywhere. It'll be in amongst all the stowed equipment and gear. So, in the darkness, the collection of stacked or suspended crates, containers, and various pieces of heavy machinery looms intimidatingly. Looking from container to container, you realize that none of them are marked in a way that makes any sense to the uninitiated. Shaking your head, you reach for the radio to ask the Chief where you'd be able to find it. Before you can call her, you hear the rustle of a jumpsuit's fabric behind you. Moments before, a wavering voice demands, "Stop right there! Intruder! Identify yourself!" You raise your hands slowly, being careful not to make any sudden movements. Dalton has done surprisingly well to get the drop on you, and if he was under the impression you were the enemy, he should be armed to confront you like this. Now you want this to just be a horror game. What's more scary than being in space? With just I don't know how much armor the ship has, like a meter of metal between you and the void. Being reliant on artificial systems to keep you alive. Hope you're doing all right, by the way, Theon. At ease, Cadet. It's me, Lieutenant Denacia. Lieutenant! I'm sorry, I thought that... Turning around slowly, hands still raised, you smile. Don't worry about it. You did good to sneak up on me like that. I was the enemy. Pausing mid-sentence, you sigh, as you realize that Dalton isn't actually holding a firearm. Cadet? Where's your weapon? Lieutenant? If I had been the enemy, what were you planning on making me do without a weapon for encouragement? Dalton pauses briefly, and you see realization flash in his eyes. Sorry, I didn't think that... Well, I thought that, which is... I done goofed. Ease up, Dalton. When this is all sorted out, we'll go over anti-boarding procedures, okay? I mean, at least from what I understand of the ship, he wouldn't be able to access security to be able to draw a weapon in the first place, right? So I think we're judging him a bit harshly for not having a firearm. Because, as I said, he's not going to be able to access the firearms. It's our job as a security officer to distribute the weapons. On the other hand, he should at the very least have a metal pipe. Like, that's just lying around everywhere in here, right? He should have one of those to, like, bonk us on the head. At the very least. Or maybe like a welder or something? I don't know. Yes! Thank you, Lieutenant. Nail gun? Maybe a nail gun. Yeah, a wrench would work. Although, what exactly is going on, Lieutenant? I was just finishing up something when all the power went out. I haven't been able to get in touch with anyone. He is holding up pretty well. Like, he's definitely nervous right now, but, like, he's always nervous. And, like, he thought enough, at least, to challenge us when we showed up and sneak up on us. Although he did fail to find a radio in here. We did establish before that there should be a radio in the hangar that he's got access to, and that slipped his mind, unfortunately. So, partial credit, I guess? Takes you a few minutes, but you quickly fill Dalton in on the events taking place on board the ship, including your current objective of obtaining the portable sub-terminal. The emergency suit radios! Oh, why didn't I think of that? Oh, the chief's gonna be so mad. She was teaching me suit maintenance just last week. Hey, take it easy, Cadet. No one else on the ship figured it out on their own either, so don't beat yourself up over it. It is something we're gonna have to drill on afterwards. I guess. So don't worry about that. What we need to do now is find the PST. Do you know where it's kept? I think so. Let me look. With a kick against the container next to him, Dalton propels himself towards the set of smaller crates. Once he arrives, he watches he opens one, rummages through various bits of electronic adjacent-looking hardware, which he fastidiously replaces before closing the lid and moving on to the one next to it. It takes the cadet checking a few different storage crates, before eventually he withdraws a device the size of a briefcase. With it firmly in hand, he slowly drifts back towards you, presenting it once back. Here we go, Lieutenant. This is what you're after? Yep, you got a portable sub-terminal. This is the portable sub-terminal, huh? You take the hefty device from Dalton and turn it over a few times to investigate it from different angles. The exterior is largely one off-white plastic shell with a handle attached, allowing you to carry it like a briefcase. The one visible seam that runs around the entire casing has two conspicuous clasps that you release, causing part of the device to fold out, revealing a keyboard alongside various screens, buttons, disk drives, and withdrawable cables. Alright, Cadet. Can you give me the quick rundown of how to use this? Yes, Lieutenant. I guess the entry to the thoroughfare would be a good place to try it out. Sounds better than going for another walk outside the ship. Let's go. The two of you make your way through the hangar and up the flights of stairs that lead to the four-side thoroughfare. Once at the top, you're faced with the unyielding set of double doors. Okay, Lieutenant. First, you need to take the cable from the PST and connect it to the underside of the terminal next to whichever door you want to open. After that, you turn the device on. If you do that now, I'll show you the rest once it's active. Yeah, alright. So, Miniature battery-powered computer, used for maintenance and debugging on the ship's systems. Battery should be enough to power the doors I need to open. Alright. Following Dalton's instructions, you kneel by the terminal and withdraw the cable from the device. It's awkward in the darkness. You eventually connect the cable to a port on the bottom of the terminal. Once you've got the sub-terminal connected, you can use it in the same way that you would the normal terminal. Just select the right function from the menu and insert your keycard into this slot when it requests you to. I'll give it a try now. Alright, let's see. I'll use Cassandra's keycard for this. Using the small keyboard, you select the Override Open function, and then, as Dalton advised, insert Cassandra's keycard. As expected, although slightly slower than you'd like, the door opens, allowing access to the four-side thoroughfare. Great work, Cadet. All I need to do now is get this to the captain's quarters, then to engineering, and we'll have the gun dog back up and running in no time. You okay there, Cadet? Yeah, I just forgot that you had to go get the codes from the captain's quarters. Is that against the rules or insubordination or something? I thought that it was forbidden to go into the captain's quarters unless it's explicitly instructed for duty. You sigh as Dalton shakily removes the cable from the terminal underside and closes the lid on the PST. Technically, yes, but right now the choice is insubordination, or we all suffocate in the vacuum of space. But don't worry about it. I'm sure the captain will understand why I had to do it. Besides, I always wanted to see what their quarters look like, so I'd say it's worth it, right? I guess. You place a hand on Dalton's shoulder and take the terminal from him. Anyway, you take it easy here. Try to raise the chief on the radio, see if she's got anything for you to do. I've got to get moving. Yes, Lieutenant! With that, give Dalton a casual salute, and in return, he throws a rigid, formal salute back at you. Smiling to yourself, you head through the now opened double doors and into the thoroughfare. Alright. So that's the hangar over there. Yep, just got the PST from the hangar. There's nothing I need in there right now. If anyone's in there, they can wait a little longer. Dylan's probably fine. I don't even notice the power coming back. I'm gonna say, I shouldn't waste time. I'll waste the PST's battery of getting in there. Besides, I'll have the power back on soon enough. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So, from here, we need to go to the central hub. I don't know how long the battery in the PST will last, so I shouldn't waste it by opening doors that I don't need to. I'll guess just use the map then, right? Oh no, it's to the, crew quarters corridor 2. Right, that's it. There we go. And... nothing in there for me right now. Need to get to the captain's quarters. Alright. Alright, so I'll just move on. Captain's quarters. Standing outside the captain's quarters, you look at the heavy device in your hand. It's taken longer than you'd like to get here, but at least now you could get those codes from the captain. Okay, so first, I get the PST. Over here. You kneel down by the terminal to the side of the door, laying the PST on the ground and unclipping the catches that hold the front of the unit closed. After it starts up, you swiftly draw out the cable and connect it to the terminal's underside. Squinting at the screen's phosphorescent glow in the low light, you scroll your way through a series of menus and select the unlock function. Once you hit enter on the command, a prompt shows up on the screen. Alright, now Cassandra's keycard. Once the device reads your keycard, you hear the soft whir of the door unlocking and a hiss as it slowly opens. Okay, leave this here for the time being. You stand up and step in front of the door, which continues its painfully slow opening. Come on, come on, come on! Captain, are you? That's... Ugh. As you step across the threshold into the dark of the captain's quarters, you're instantly overwhelmed by a powerful fetor. Gag and stumble your way back to the door, taking a deep breath of the corridor's sterile air. You try to compose yourself, but the odor drifts out around you, and a particularly acrid waft stings the back of your throat as you take another breath, forcing you to gag again. She better not be dead. Or drunk. The atmosphere on ships, and even the colonies, are carefully regulated, and the air supply constantly scrubbed and recycled. Because of this, strong smells are something that are almost never encountered and quickly resolved. You realize that with the ship's life support out of action, this hasn't been happening, and whatever is causing the stench of the captain's quarters has been left to putrefy the air with an awful miasma. After a few more retches, you steel yourself to re-enter the room. Before heading in, you bring your arm up in front of your mouth and nose to do your best to bear the stink. Although you're doing your best to breathe as lightly as possible, the odor still assaults you, almost too much to bear. Captain, are you... you in here? Captain? With no answer, you carry on deeper into the quarters. As you grow accustomed to the smell, you begin to pick up the unique odors that it's comprised of. The first scent that you identify brings back memories of your early flight training. The acidic tang of vomit. Alright, so it was mentioned that she was feeling sick before, so maybe she's just throwing up. The second takes you a little while longer. Sour. Chemical. You wonder for a moment if it's one of the substances they use to strip paintwork from ships or armored frames. But then you spy an empty bottle on the desk and realize what it is. Stale whiskey. Sick. Huh? With the cause of the captain's absence now obvious, you look around the room. To the left is another closed door. To the right, you see an open doorway and what looks like the end of the bed. Right, so he's just drunk. Just got an alcoholic captain. Captain! You call out again as you head towards it. Although your reason for being here is entirely justifiable, you still feel a bit hesitant about barging in. Captain? Nothing. Alright, Captain. I'm coming in. We need those. Having stepped through the doorway, you find yourself in a room that's much closer to a normal bedroom than the crew's quarters. Rather than access panels flush with the walls for storage, the room has actual furniture. A chest of drawers sits below a large mirror, and a bedside table is right next to an unmade queen-sized bed. For a moment, you think that, like Cassie is wont to do, the captain has just thrown her worn uniform onto the bed and left it all in a heap. But before you turn back, sluggish movement as the mass of crumpled clothing turns over reveals it to be Captain Bartolmews herself. Captain! You throw a salute and hold it for a moment, before you realize that the captain is completely oblivious to your presence. tentatively making your way towards the captain's bedside, you register that the smell of stale whiskey is strongest in her immediate vicinity. As you look around, you notice another bottle lies mostly empty, with a small pool of amber liquid left in one of its corners. Captain, you run your hands back through your hair and sigh loudly. Regardless of all this, you remind yourself, you're here to get the emergency input codes. Captain! Hey! Captain! Captain Bardamus! Place your palm on the captain's upper arm and rock her gently. Captain, come on! You need to wake up! We need your emergency input code. Captain! Wake up! Captain! Captain! You step back and pinch the bridge of your nose with your thumb and forefinger. Despite everything, it doesn't seem the captain will be waking up from this stupor anytime soon. On! After everything! I can't get the codes from the captain directly. She keeps a copy of them around here or something? Worth a shot. Alright. Captain, come on! Wake up! Can you tell me where those codes are? He's out of it. Alright, let's have a look around, shall we? A painting of the first colony fleet to enter Jupiter's orbit. If I remember my civics lessons, they were funded by a wealthy Terran industrialist who had them built to serve as habitats for a workforce that would harvest resources from Jupiter and her moons for his company's sake. After a few decades, the population had enough of existing with no autonomy and living on company scrip, so they took control of the fleet and petitioned to join the Solar Federation. You all know how that ended. If the captain's got an actual bedroom, I wonder if this is a... It's an actual bathroom, alright, but how I know where the smell of vomit is coming from. I expected to find in there anyway. An empty bottle of whiskey, aside from a few leftover drops. Europa Colony Special Blend. A pretty nice desk. Must be where the captain does all her work when she's not on the bridge. Or drunk. If that's the case, then... As I thought, it's got a few drawers at the back next to where it should sit. Codes are anywhere, be in there. The captain's bedroom? It's actually pretty nice. This is the first time I've seen a captain's quarters, but I didn't know they were this different. Privilege of rank, I guess. The captain's bedroom? I thought there might be a safe behind it or something like in the movies. But it looks like the whole thing's a reproduction that's been applied directly to the wall panel. Even his frame is bolted on. And if I needed to, I'd really rather not use that considering the state it's in right now. Europa Colony Special Blend. The myth is that they used to brew it in old fuel tanks, which gave it its particularly potent edge. And how it tastes, though, you may not think it's a myth. I'd never touch it, not that the captain's left enough to share. Alright. I know I've seen Cassie hand the captain printed reports and status updates. Maybe she's still got a copy of those codes in here. Try to open the top drawer, but the small amount of initial give stops almost immediately as you hear a clunk. Try a few more times, and then spot a keyhole to the left of the drawer. Checking the second and third drawers gives you the same result. Locked. Of course. I have to find the key. Captain, come on. Wake up. Can you tell me where the key to your desk is? You were uncomfortable enough making your way in here in the first place. Now that you're about to rummage your way through the captain's personal effects, you feel even worse. Let's get this over with. Doing a quick scan of the room in the hopes that the captain may have left the key on top of the chest of drawers or her bedside table proves fruitless. So, you tentatively step back inside. Hey there, Post-Utopia! Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Even if it is only for 10 minutes. Hope you're doing alright. Nervously looking back to the captain's comatose form every few moments. Sorry about this, Captain. Standing by the chest of drawers, you lay your hand on its top and drum your fingers before nervously pulling the top one open. Seeing only folded clothing inside, you close it quickly, going on to repeat this process for the next 2 drawers, finding nothing. Stupid subscriptions. Stepping back, you take another look around. The only immediately obvious place left to check is a drawer in the bedside table right next to the captain. Or possibly in her pockets. Moving over to it, you squat down beside the unit, acutely aware of the captain sleeping right next to you. In the low light, it's next to impossible for you to make out the contents of the drawer, so you have to settle for reaching inside and feeling your way through. Running your fingers over the various contents, you try to figure out what's in there. A thin plastic surface with regular bumps, which feels like it has a foil underside. Drugs. A small glass bottle with a series of raised dots just under the label. Various individual papers. You grab a hold of what feels like a key card, clipped onto a lanyard, and pull it out of the drawer. The metallic jangling sound that comes with it is quickly revealed to be a keyring featuring various different keys. One of these has got to be the key for those. Uh-oh. You were, incapacitated. Lieutenant. You freeze in place with your hand half out of the drawer, holding onto the captain's identity card and keys. You hadn't seen her stir, but in the blink of an eye, Captain Bardanews had managed to reach out and grab a hold of your wrist. Gotta explain things. To explain things, I guess. First we'll save the game. We haven't saved the game for a bit. The captain's grip on your wrist isn't particularly strong, but the shock has rendered you perfectly still. You slowly turn your head to face her, and see her lazily gazing at you through the darkness. Lieutenant? You hold on to your breath for a moment, then exhale slowly, calming yourself. What are you? Composing yourself, you speak calmly and quietly. I'm sorry, Captain. It's an emergency, and I've come to get your input codes. Emergency? All the ship's systems have gone offline. Commander Quinn has collapsed. I've been working with Chief Cathays and Lieutenant Lord to get your codes so that we can get the ship back online. The captain blinks groggily a few times and releases your wrist, drawing her hand back to rub her eyes. As she does, you slowly take the keys from the bedside drawer and stand. That's why I'm here. I thought the codes might be in your desk drawer, but I needed the key. Although you're doing your best to maintain your tone and demeanor, on the inside, your heart is racing as you consider the possibility of being given a court-martial here and now. Sounds important. Well, yes, ma'am. I'd say we all consider it pretty crucial right now. Captain continues to gaze at you as you stand to attention in the darkness. After a moment in which you think she may have fallen back to sleep, she rolls onto her back and brings her hand to her forehead. The printout with the latest access code. It's in the second drawer. You breathe a sigh of relief as the captain rolls the face away from you. Just don't read the report. Ma'am? You wait for a few moments, but eventually a gentle snore emerges from the crumpled heap that is Captain Bartholomew's, and you relax. Second drawer. Thanks, Captain. Oh, we've got the captain's key ring now. A collection of keys. Presumably they've all got something to do with ship systems. All I've got to worry about now is the one that opens her desk. Lovely. Alright. Oh, let's go. Alright, let's see. Which one? You spend a few moments working your way through the selection of the keys that hang from the ring on the end of the captain's lanyard. You're able to discount a few based on their unusual shapes. Finding the right one is still a tricky task in the dark. Eventually, you find one that slides easily into the lock and turns the mechanism, which lets out a surprisingly hefty clunk. The captain said the codes were in the second drawer, so you open that drawer first and purposefully leaf through the collections of papers, reports, and files that it contains. Crew manifest, security updates. You see the telltale tractor feed edges of the printer paper that you've seen Cassie produce updates and reports for the captain on are sticking out from underneath a manila folder. As you lift the paper out of the drawer, the folder on top begins to spill its contents. You quickly grab it to stop everything from falling out, and as you do, you can't help but read its title. JCF Naval Investigatory Commission Findings, Incident 00784, 21-9-209, Subject Rear Admiral M. Bartholomew's. With what you believe to be the printout that will contain the codes in one hand, and this report in the other, you look back towards the captain's bedroom as you remember her instructions. Just don't read the report. You hesitate for a moment, rereading the title. Rear Admiral? Read it. Bet it's juicy. Look, at this point, we have been given a clear order from our captain. If you want to read the report, however, you can absolutely buy the game on Steam right now. I will link the page in chat for you. Here we go. The game is $21.95 Australian dollars. Those are good dollars. Yeah, you can play the game in your own way. Clearly, your choices do seem to matter in this in some way or another. Yeah, I urge you to buy this game. We're gonna put it back though. I think, as interesting as it would be to read this, like, we're professionals here. We're gonna put it back. You stare at the cover of the report for a few moments before placing it back in the drawer. Whatever is in that report, it's not your place to know it. Besides, you've got much more important things to worry about right now. Taking the printout in both hands, lift it up to the light, starting at the top and letting the rest of the continuous ream of paper unfurl. Your eyes scan the document for any key phrases that look appropriate until you see what you're looking for. Classified. Core System Access Codes. Generation date 24/2/14. For Captain and Second only. Finally! Tearing the relevant page from the rest of the document at its perforated edges, you fold it up and stuff it into your pocket. Alright, access codes. Turning to leave, you pause for a second before taking a moment to quickly stuff the rest of the documents back into their relevant drawers and then locking them back up. Codes finally in your possession, you briskly make your way back towards the corridor outside the captain's quarters, where you've left the PST. As you approach the doorway, you take hold of the radio and push down the transmission button to report the good news. Okay, Chief, Lieutenant Lord, I've got the codes. You release the push-to-talk button and wait. Give it a moment, and instead of more instructions from the Chief or some kind of backhanded congratulation from Lieutenant Lord, all you hear is, with a powerful hiss of static. Chief? You try again. Lieutenant Lord? Still nothing. Anyone? Come on. Oh, nice! You bought the game! Great job, Shoma. You'll have to let me know what happens if you look at the report afterwards. But yeah, I definitely urge people to support indie developers especially. And, like, I'm streaming a visual novel right now, which has less gameplay than other games, absolutely, so definitely support them. You give the radio a shake and spend a few moments adjusting the frequency dials, but you still don't hear anything from anyone, just the hiss of static. My new model is really good. I fucking love it. Thank you very much to Doc Mango for the art, and to Fafrutsky for the actual model work, the rigging. Like, both of them have done a bang-up job for it. Good job, Sion. Support indies everywhere. After all, if nobody buys their game, then they're not going to be able to make more games. And, like, I do want to see more of this. Like, as far as I know, this is, like, episode 1 or something? I don't know. So it sounds like they're going to be making more in the future. So I want them to continue with this. Be jalouse. What's jalouse? For a moment, you feel like throwing the radio down the corridor, but instead, you slump against the nearest wall and hold your head in one hand. Oh, jealous. Gotcha. Fair enough. Alright, so we've got ourselves an ad break at the moment, so we are going to take a pause here, and we will resume in a few minutes. So go grab yourselves a drink, go to the bathroom, what have you, and we'll see what's going on with the rest of the crew now, because we've lost contact with the Chief and Lieutenant Lord. That's not good, I don't think. Alright, be right back. All right, we have returned, and it is time to try and fix this damn ship up. I don't like the power being off. I want the power back on. I want life support to be working. It's getting cold in here. Yeah, it's starting to go stale. Alright, let's go. Slouching against the wall in the low light for a moment longer, you sigh loudly before turning and kneeling down by the PST, which you begin to pack back up. You've got the codes, you just can't get them to the chief over the radio. Next best thing, you decide, is to get them to her in person. You clip the latches on the PST closed and pick it up as you stand, turning to make your way through the darkness towards the four-side thoroughfare. Alright. So, back out here. So, Central Hub. Aft thoroughfare. And no time to mess around. Yeah. So, engineering. Outside of the huge blast door that separates the aft thoroughfare from the engineering department, you begin the increasingly familiar process of unpacking the PST. Alright, I set up the PST. Oh yeah, so these are the codes needed to reboot the central computer and get the ship systems back online. In normal circumstances, these are given only to the captain or head of operations. Yeah, so PST. There we go. First withdrawing the cable, then plugging it into the terminal near the door, you boot up the device and begin cycling through the options. Okay, and then Cassandra's keycard. With the device set up, you hit the enter key on the unlock option, turn your attention towards a partition that stands between you and the engineering department. Unlike the other doors, the PST's battery power had been used to open. This blast door is inches thick, comprised almost entirely of solid steel. You watch tentatively as a low grinding sound emanates from the ceiling for about 10 seconds before the door even begins to move. Like the others, the opening process is agonizingly slow. In the darkness of the thoroughfare, time seems to lose all meaning as you watch the door almost imperceptibly work its way upwards. After a few minutes, the barely noticeable progress comes to a halt, and the low grinding sound stops, with the blast door giving you just over a foot of clearance between it and the floor. Turning your attention back towards the PST, you see a graphic of an empty battery with a cross through it blinking on the screen. Knowing that the blast door is being kept open by the device's dwindling battery power, you drop to the floor and, grabbing the PST, begin to crawl forward into engineering. There's just enough clearance for you to worm your way underneath. Smooth panel floor turning to grating makes it an uncomfortable experience. By the time you make it halfway through, with your feet still sticking out in the aft thoroughfare, the grinding noise that had stopped with the door starts back up again. That's not good. No. You shove the PST ahead of you through the small gap, being mindful to not yank out the cable plugged into the underside of the terminal. Ignoring the grating now, you quickly squirm the rest of the way until you're clear of the door. Then, rolling onto your back, grab the PST's cable and give it a swift tug, pulling it out of the terminal on the other side and back to you before the blast door drops shut. Do 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 do. That was way too close. You stand up and quickly pick up the PST, which still has the low battery warning blinking on its screen. Chief! Your call is met with the oppressive silence that somehow seems worse in the vast space of the engineering department. Chief! It's me! Lieutenant Denacia! I've got the PST! Chief! Making your way past various systems, terminals, stations, and machinery, you continue to call out to the Chief. There's no response. How the hell could she be? As you continue your way deeper into engineering, you grab the radio. Chief! Just like the last time you tried, no one answers. All you hear is static. Chief! Dart down different catwalks trying to find the Chief, your mind racing as to where she could be. Chief! With the low battery warning illuminating your face in increasingly small intervals with its constant flashing, you stop. Looking down at the PST's screen, you make a decision. Well, I've done everything else myself. Turning back from the main section of engineering, you make a beeline over to the room that holds the central computer, your footsteps on the grating echoing throughout the silence. May as well finish things. As you begin to run, the PST starts to beep, and the battery symbol flashes even more rapidly. You're running out of battery, then don't use what you've got left flashing and beeping! Running at full pelt now towards the central computer, you reach it just as the PST's whole screen begins to blink, cycling between showing the warning and nothing at all. Fuck! Once you arrive at the doorway that leads to the central computer, you know what you've got to do. Once you arrive at the doorway that leads to the central computer, you know what you've got to do. Yeah, so PST. Wasting no time, you withdraw the cable and hurriedly plug it into the terminal with one hand, while scrolling through options with the other. Come on, hang in there, come on, almost there. Alright, so Cassandra, and now... As soon as the door begins to open, you jump to it and start pushing on it in order to force it open. Once you've made the gap large enough, you slip through at the exact same moment as you hear the PST power down and the door slides back shut. It takes a moment, but your eyes adjust to the darkness of the room. Looking around, you see that it is a little bigger than a cleaning cupboard or a crew member's shower cubicle. Masses of thick cabling run from the ceiling and floor along the walls towards the end of the room opposite the doorway. On the far side is a huge screen with a keyboard positioned below it at about waist height. Stepping towards the interface, you run your hand over the keys. The computer shows no sign of life, even after you begin to push random buttons. Simply mashing the keyboard doesn't produce any response, so instead, you begin to feel your way over its casing in the darkness, trying to find what might be a power button. Eventually, you find a rocker switch set into the side of the device. You flick it to the alternative position once, but nothing happens. With no other options, you flick it back to the position it was in. This time, the screen illuminates, and you hear electronics come to life. Have you tried turning it off and on again? As a hard drive somewhere beyond the screen begins to whir loudly, the screen transitions from its boot screen to a password input screen. General Electronic Network platform, huh? After everything you've been through, You're now one input away from getting the ship back online. Finally! Alright. Access codes. And enter! With a final flourish, you strike the return key. Alright, lights on, restore power to the Gundog, achievement acquired. An immense feeling of satisfaction fills you as you watch the computer work its way through the startup process. Names of systems show up and are followed by their status changing from offline to active. A faint draft runs down your neck, which you take to mean life support and ventilation is back online. Alright, hold on Cassie, Come on! No, wait, what? No! Come on! You hit with a gut punch of panic as the visuals on the screen begin to warp. Fragments of text scatter, lines of code split and distort, whilst a strange noise squeals from the machinery. Do this! Unsure of what's going on, but beginning to think that it is your fault, you look over the keyboard again, repeatedly striking any key that seems like it may stop this process. Oh, where's the any key? End! Escape! Escape! Pause! Ah! I think I'd like a tab. Oh, no time for that now. The computer's starting up. Come on! What's going on? Hold on. Academy, post-care, top marks, highly capable but erratic, dismissed from JFS Reliant due to significant failing in security process. Well, that failing in security process got me into the ship's computer, which, I probably shouldn't have access to. You could probably pause the VOD and find out what other people's failures were, I guess. Feel like this is a ship of screw-ups. As suddenly as it started, the computer's erratic activity ceases. Only document left on screen, Cassie's personnel file. Cassie's file? Why? You pause, unsure whether you should do anything or leave it as it is. You can tell from the ambient noise that has returned that the ship is back online, but why would the computer freak out like this? Why would it pull up Cassie's file? No! Doing your best to understand what you just saw, you tentatively reach a hand out towards the keyboard. You're still unsure of what you could do to find out what just happened, but can't help but feel like whatever it was wasn't right. Denasia! I need you up on the bridge right now! You withdraw your hand, instead grabbing the radio to answer Lieutenant Lord. Alright, I'm on my way back now. How's Lieutenant Quinn doing? There's no time for her. Get up here now! You curse under your breath as you turn to leave the room. You've learned now that if Lieutenant Lord doesn't intend to be helpful, she won't be. Yep. Oh, yeah, no problem, Utopia. Thank you very much for stopping by. I will enjoy gaming. Rather than attempt to argue, you make your way through the ship back towards the bridge. As the elevator doors hiss open, you step onto the bridge. You see Lieutenant Lord frenziedly flicking switches and turning dials on an instrument panel, stopping every so often to type commands into her station. Cassie, meanwhile, remains unconscious on the bridge floor. I'm here, Lieutenant. What else is wrong now? You hurry over to Cassie and kneel down, sliding your hands under her back and legs in preparation to pick her up and take her to the newly accessible sickbay. It's the O'Brien! With a single movement, you stand and bring Cassandra up from the floor. What about it? It's gone! Done, done, done. April 23rd, Planetary Calendar 214. Despite the successful reactivation of the JFS Gundog central computer by Lieutenant Denacia, the JFS O'Brien could not be contacted and was no longer coming up on sensors. Seems like Chapter 5, a good point to save the game there. After taking Lieutenant Commander Quinn to the sickbay, Lieutenant Denacia, alongside Cadet Grange, are tasked with sweeping the ship for faults or damage, whilst Lieutenant Lord sets Chief Cathays to work helping her locate the other ship. The JFS O'Brien is eventually located just as Captain Bartomuse calls an emergency meeting. Sobered up, have you? Outer Jovian space. The bridge of the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. As you, the Chief, and Lieutenant Lord stand to attention, waiting for the captain to begin the meeting, the sound of an approaching elevator is the only noise that can be heard in the tense silence of the bridge. Ensign Hanson Cruz, entering the bridge and reporting as ordered. Hanson states, performing a lazy salute as he steps out of the elevator and onto the bridge. You shift slightly as you watch him enter. You knew you were waiting for someone, but why Hanson? Yeah, this guy. He pauses for a moment, and you see him take stock of everyone present. Your shoulders tense up, and you inadvertently clench your jaw as he heads straight towards you. At the last moment, he steps to your side and takes a place in the lineup next to you without so much as a sideways glance. You remain on edge, but your attention is quickly taken by the captain. She finishes reviewing the readouts from the control panel on her chair and stands up. At ease. The four of you relax slightly, although, with the exception of Hanson, you all maintain a formal stance. Now that we're all assembled, we can begin. First of all, well done to all of you for your actions whilst I was... unwell. Indisposed. For a brief moment, Captain's eyes meet yours, and you do your best not to react. Aside from the Doctor, you were confident that you were the only person on board who knew the nature of the Captain's indisposition. You hadn't mentioned it to anyone else, and didn't intend to, but you did find yourself wondering if she was currently in a fit state to be organizing a mission. Your cooperation, ingenuity, and composure under pressure have been noted, and I will be recommending formal awards be applied to your records. Out of the corner of your eye, you noticed Vanessa nod in agreement, but the rest of you remain still. Now, on to the matter at hand. As of 11:47 Jovian Standard Time, a signal of unknown origin was received, which shut down not just the Gundog's central computer, but also all of its emergency backup systems as well. With Commander Quinn unexpectedly taken ill, Lieutenant Lord took command, and Lieutenant Denacia was able to carry out her plan to access the hangar via the external airlock. You'd been too busy carrying out an assessment of the ship's systems alongside Dalton to submit an incident report, and you knew that the chief had been tasked by Vanessa with locating the unresponsive O'Brien. You bite your tongue and glance back to Vanessa, who nods again, corners of her mouth curling upwards. The captain was clearly working from a biased interpretation of events. Ah, so Vanessa's taking credit for everything, huh? From there, Lieutenant Denacia was able to obtain a portable sub-terminal and the code for the reactivation of the central computer, a process they carried out successfully at 1327. Although the Gundog is now operational, we have not been able to make contact with the O'Brien. We can only assume that whatever interfered with the Gundog systems had the same impact on the O'Brien. Unfortunately, it would appear their crew have not been able to reactivate its systems, as we have received no communications from them whatsoever. Chief Cathays, do we have an update on the O'Brien? The group turns to look at the chief as she steps forward, and you realize that this is the first time you've seen her outside of engineering or the hangar. Although she stands as tall as ever, there's something about her presence that feels diminished. Yes, ma'am. We've not had any response from the O'Brien's transponder, and the normal sensors haven't been able to pick up any of the usual activity from a ship. However, We hear Vanessa tut. The chief pauses briefly before continuing. That is, Lieutenant Lord and I realized that by using the infrared targeting sensors in fire control, we could pick up the O'Brien itself as if it were debris. We've located it at 43 degrees off the starboard bow, at a distance of roughly 300 kilometers. Resolution gets a bit scrappy at that range, but we're not seeing any external signs of activity. I see. Lieutenant Lord, how long until we can dock with them to provide assistance? I think the Chief is best equipped to handle that question, ma'am. The Chief pauses for a moment. You know the answer to this question, but so should the Chief and Vanessa. As the silence drags on, you begin to wonder why neither of them are forthcoming. Chief Cathays? The pause only becomes more loaded as the seconds pass. Whilst you have no idea what's happening here, you can feel the tension between the Chief and Vanessa build. I think we should probably speak up about this. Like, just cut through the bullshit, answer the damn woman's question. Although you can tell something is going on between the two of them, you know that the crew of the O'Brien must be in a similar situation to the one just faced, and without immediate assistance, they were at risk of running out of breathable air very soon. You'd put up with enough from Vanessa for today, and weren't about to let her petty power plays get in the way of helping your comrades. We can't. It's the engines, ma'am. They're still offline. All this tisking. What's that, Lieutenant? Whilst Cadet Grange and I were assessing the ship faults and security issues, we found that the engines had failed to restart. Diagnostics show the forced shutdown put the nuclear pulse engines offline. They need to be manually reactivated. The captain lets out an exasperated sigh as she hears this information, making no effort to conceal her frustration. And how long until they can be back online? You prepare to answer with what Dalton had told you, You're cut off by the chief. We're looking at 6 hours, ma'am. We've been preoccupied with finding the O'Brien. So I haven't had the opportunity to begin the startup process to get them running again. Just like the brief twitches of anger and frustration with the captain as like everything is going wrong. The captain follows this information with another sigh. You'd always thought of her as distant or disinterested. But considering her current state, you have to wonder how much of that was her simply working her way through a hangover. I see. The captain stands silent for a moment, keeping her eyes closed and pinching the bridge of her nose with her thumb and forefinger. Suddenly, her eyes open, and she stands completely upright, assuming a posture you're surprised to see from her that manages to communicate an air of not just authority, but capability. We'll be carrying out a mission as follows. The four of you snap back to attention. Even Hanson seems to take this announcement seriously. As we're not able to reach the O'Brien with the gun dog to provide support, we'll be doing the next best thing. We'll be deploying the mechs. Ensign Cruz and Lieutenant Denacia will head over in an armored frame to provide assistance. Lovely! But getting the robot Shinji. With Asuka. You clench your teeth and your body goes rigid. Not only would this be your second trip into space in the span of a few hours, you'd be doing it with Hanson for company. I do love armored frames. Your eyes dart across to Hanson, whose attention remains on the captain. You can't be sure, but you swear you see a flicker of a smile on his face. We'll be working on the assumption that the same issues affecting the gun dog are affecting the O'Brien. So, Lieutenant Denacia will take a portable sub-terminal, locate the captain or second-in-command, and then utilize their access codes to assist their chief engineer in reactivating the ship. If there are complications, or we're too late, then our second priority will be to obtain the O'Brien's black box. At the very least, we can hopefully gather some information on what's out there that could immediately disable 2 Swift-class ships. Lieutenant Denacia, Ensign Cruz, do you both understand? The pair of you salute and in unison respond, "Yes, Captain." "Yes, Captain." Chief Cathays, I want you to provide a fully charged portable sub-terminal and guidance on removing a Swift-class black box. After that, prepare Gundog 1 for launch, and then I want those engines back online. Understood? "Yes, Captain." Lieutenant Lord, you'll be overseeing this mission. Understood? "Yes, Captain." Very good. It's 16:03. This mission commences at 16:30. Dismissed. With this final instruction out of the way, you all salute the captain and then turn to leave. The chief is the first of you to reach the elevators, and she steps into one without waiting for anyone else, pressing the button for her destination and disappearing behind its 2 doors as they hiss shut. Without paying you any attention, Vanessa and Hanson both step onto the remaining elevator, with Vanessa hitting a button as soon as the pair have boarded. As the doors close, you see her turn to Hanson, cross her arms and begin to speak, but her words are cut off before you can hear them. You remain on the silent bridge with the captain. You here return to her chair. Whilst you wait for an elevator to return, you go over what you might need to do in your head. It will be the chief's responsibility to get you a charged portable sub-terminal, and Hanson and Dalton will be responsible for pre-flight checks. Aside from getting a spacesuit from the hangar, you realize you don't really have anything you need to do before the mission starts. Less than half an hour to go before you'll be taking off. You don't have much time to do anything either, though. You might have the opportunity to visit a few other crew members to check in on them, you think? But it might be a push to visit everyone. Eventually, the elevator the chief left in returns, and the door hisses open. Alright. Chat, do you have any preferences on who we might visit? Let's save the game here. It looks like we'll be able to talk to a few people, but then the mission will start. Now, personally, I'm thinking go to the med bay and check up on our girlfriend. But anything else? Both stations currently remain uncrewed, with Vanessa having followed Hanson off the bridge and Cassie in the sickbay. If anything does come up, the captain should be able to take care of it until Vanessa returns, though. Should is the operating word. We talk to the captain? With the power back of the ship's systems running, the view into space is once again partially obscured by the various displays and readouts showing in front of the window. Check on Cassie first. After your spacewalk, you find it quietly reassuring to be reminded that there's something between you and the void. Yeah. Having returned to her chair, Captain Bardanews has spun it around to face the front of the bridge. Although you can't see her clearly, you notice her right hand quickly typing on the control panel set into one of the armrests, presumably working on preparations for the mission. Watching her being quietly professional like this, she almost seems like any other captain you've served under. But then, you recall the acrid smell of stale alcohol in her quarters. A memory that doesn't fill you with confidence. Alright. We'll head to the med bay. Hello. Oh, let's have ourselves a drink. Thank you, Kuro. And we'll stretch a little bit as well. Alright. I guess she's gonna tell us off for interrupting her little power game with the engineer, I guess. As the elevator doors open, you're immediately confronted by Vanessa standing in front of you. Her arms crossed and her foot tapping impatiently. Well, it took you long enough, Lieutenant Denacia. You sidestep her and make your way into the central hub. As you do, she turns to follow you. My apologies, Lieutenant. I didn't realize I was needed so urgently. Well, I wouldn't go that far, Denacia. Your frustration with Vanessa had cooled over the past few hours, as you'd spent time with Dalton and had been carrying out duties that kept you well away from her. But, back in her presence, you remembered how tense things had got between you on the bridge and over the radio. Lieutenant Lord, I've got a mission to be preparing for. Is there anything I can help you with right now, or can I get going? Nothing much, Lieutenant. I just wanted to say that you did a good job on getting the gun dog operational again. Something about Vanessa's manner makes you instantly uneasy. Considering how she'd behaved recently, praise was the last thing you'd expected. I don't know, is she gonna try and blackmail me or something? I mean, I'll play your game for now. Yeah. Thanks. I did what I had to do. And for that, you've received a much-deserved commendation on your record. You roll your eyes and begin to walk away again, unwilling to deal with whatever mind games Vanessa was attempting to play. Wait a moment, Lieutenant Denacia. All I wanted to do was congratulate you. You deserve it, as a member of the crew who's gone above and beyond. What's this about, Lieutenant? You ask, your patience thinning rapidly. Straight to the task at hand. That's what I like about you, Lieutenant. Now, a proficient, able crew member like yourself, you know what it means to do your duty. But you've seen how the captain and her second carry out their affairs on this ship. What are you getting at? All I want to know, Lieutenant, is whether you think that crew members like yourself, Chief Engineer Cathays, Cadet Grange, and the rest deserve a competent commander. Wow. Alright. So, she's proposed a mutiny, it seems. And I'm not sure who I trust more. The drunk, who apparently got demoted from Rear Admiral, or this, like, narcissistic, power-hungry manipulator going on here. No. No. I can't listen to this. Yeah, I've got a... I would take Captain Bartomeu's over her. Your recent discovery about the captain comes back to the front of your mind. But instead of answering, you make a move to walk past Vanessa, fully intending to not get involved in whatever she's planning. Lieutenant Lord, I really don't have time for this. Based on your recent conduct, Lieutenant, you seem pretty reliable, so I wanted to let you know ahead of time. I'll be keeping a close eye on this mission to see who's capable and who isn't. It's important to know who you can trust to do what needs to be done, after all. Anyway, nice to talk with you, Lieutenant. Good luck on the upcoming mission. Alright. With that, Vanessa turns on her heel and heads off down the four-side thoroughfare, leaving you alone in the central hub. Oh, Lieutenant, do your best. I'll be watching. Oh boy. Alright, I'm not necessarily sure she's a narcissist. Like, that might be going a little bit far. But she is definitely, like, really smug about her own self. Convinced that she's the only competent person on board this ship. No, maybe she is a bit of a narcissist. Alright. So let's head to the sick bay. The elevator doors slide open, and you raise your hand to shield your eyes from the aggressive glare of the sick bay's powerful lighting. As you've come to expect, a strong sense of clinical disinfectant pervades the room. As harsh as it is, it's infinitely preferable to the powerful odor of the captain's quarters. Scanning the room, you see that everything seems to be in order. The doctor sits at his desk, absorbed in his data pad. All the medical supplies are carefully arranged in their cabinets, and the surgery wing continues to look immaculate. The only thing out of place is... There they are! Erexus! She's awake! I thought she was going to be unconscious still. Cassandra, who had been idly laying back on one of the beds playing with her hair, had seen you the moment you stepped into the room and swung her legs around the side of the bed, launching herself off it and towards you. I heard all about how you... Whoa! Cassie! Careful! You dart forward just in time to grab her before the stumble she'd taken turns into a fall. Alright, let's get you back up to the bed. Thanks, Erexus. In one swift motion, you scoop Cassie up in your arms and carry her back to the beds, setting her down on the one she'd just been lying on. Okay, I think I could have made that journey on my own, you know? Well, better safe than sorry, right? Still looking after me after everything you've done already? Ah, my hero. Your cheeks go flush, and you look away for a moment. The captain's acknowledgement of your actions had been so perfunctory that it had barely registered, but Cassie's wholehearted praise has you suddenly feeling sheepish. No, it wasn't a big deal. It was just what I had to do. I'm pretty sure anyone else would have done the same thing if they were in my position. Don't sell yourself short, Erexus. It is a big deal. Saving an entire crew from complete system failure with no chain of command? It isn't exactly something that we get trained for. Plus, I didn't hear about anyone else going on a spacewalk from one end of the ship to the other to get the equipment they needed. If doing all that doesn't make you a hero, I don't know what does. You smile and look back to Cassie. As self-conscious as you feel being called a hero, her assessment of events isn't wrong. Thanks, Cassie. I'm pretty sure I should still be thanking you, Erexus. I don't think Vanessa could have carried me down here like you did. You bite your tongue at Cassie's mention of Vanessa. You had a strong feeling that Vanessa wouldn't have even tried. You push the thought from your mind. You don't have much time with Cassie before your mission is due to begin, and the last thing you want to be doing is thinking about Vanessa. Don't worry about it. How are you doing anyway? Oh, me? I'm doing great! Aren't I, Doc? Although he doesn't look up from his data pad, you see a flicker of recognition on the doctor's face. No, Miss Quinn, you are not doing great. You had a sudden and intense migraine, followed by an unexplained, extended loss of consciousness, which in turn has been followed by a persistent and ongoing headache. I would not look to describe your condition as great. Let's see. Why didn't you tell me you were still feeling bad? Oh, come on. What are you, my doctor? No, Miss Quinn. They are not your doctor. It's an expression, Doc. So I've got a bit of a headache right now. I bet it's nothing. It's probably because I pulled a double shift to cover the captain without eating anything but a bag of chips and 3 chocolate bars. I mean, that definitely wouldn't help. see. Miss Quinn, you'd advised me you've been sticking rigorously to the NutriShake schedule I've laid out for. Okay, everyone. Please. I know. But here I am, hydrated and full of electrolytes on doctor's orders. I'm going to be fine. So, anyway, what are you doing, Araxis? Are you able to finish your shift now that the Gundog's back up and running and you've made sure that everything's okay? Oh, Cassie. Well, actually, we've not been able to make contact with the O'Brien, so I've been ordered to head over there in an armored frame. Oh no. Honey, seems really... with Hanson. Oh, honey. Sorry. How are you feeling about it? Being honest, not looking forward to it. If I'm being honest, I'm really not looking forward to it. You let out a deep sigh as various thoughts about the mission fill your mind. I'm not sure what's going to be worse. Being stuffed inside an AF with him for the flight over? I need to work with him once we get on board the O'Brien. I'll be his superior officer whilst we're over there. I even want to think about how he'll take that. You taper off as you begin to mentally run through all the terrible outcomes you can imagine coming from such a situation. I mean, on the plus side, we haven't tased him in the past. We let him out of the lift earlier as well, so... At least he doesn't have anything immediately to be angry about us with. Hey, don't worry about it. As much as Hanson is, like he is, he's still a part of the JCF and one of our crewmates. He likes to throw his weight around where he can get away with it, but I don't think he'll do it on an important mission. I think he's a little too proud to ruin his reputation as an ace pilot by starting a fight inside of his AF. Besides, once you're on the O'Brien, you can just get to work helping the other crew and ignore him. Well, that's the other thing. It looks like whatever happened to the Gundog has happened to the O'Brien. Since we've not been able to identify any activity coming from them, there's a good chance that their crew hasn't made it. Oh no! Yeah. Hey, come on. They may not have got their ship back up and running, but maybe they've got their own savvy chief engineer who's figured out a solution that keeps them all safe. And on top of that, if they're really lucky, they've got their own heroic security officer who's saving the entire crew right now. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure it'll be fine. Cassie is... She's dumb as a bag of bricks, alright? But she's really nice and positive and, like uplifting. You do your best to match Cassie's enthusiasm, but you hadn't forgotten the chill in the air of the Gundog just before you'd gotten it back online. One of the first signs that a ship wouldn't be able to sustain its crew for much longer. That had been over 3 hours ago. Hey, Araxis? Whatever happens, it'll be alright. You've already done incredible things today. Way more than anyone could have expected. You're gonna be alright. Thanks, Cassie. Besides, you said you'd book us tickets for that new water park in the Europa cluster. I'm not going to let anything happen that'll stop us from going. Now get out there and nail this mission, Lieutenant Denacia? Yes, ma'am. Alright. I've been wondering how long it had been since someone had actually used one of these. I guess Cassie was unlucky enough to be the first this mission. Lots of different medications are arranged neatly in there. It's pretty much an entire pharmacy. The surgery wing. Thankfully, whatever happened to Cassie didn't need to be treated in there. One of the beds is currently in use by Cassie. I don't think the doctor would be impressed if I joined her. If there's anything that Cassie needs, the doctor will get it for her. Besides, they're all locked and password protected. Field surgery is a skill I'm hoping I don't need to learn anytime soon, so I'll leave that room alone. What's in my item inventory? I still got Cassandra's keycard. Lieutenant Denacia, is there something I can help you with? Sorry, Doctor. I didn't realize you were still here. I am not currently needed anywhere else, Lieutenant. Yeah, of course. As you're still here, I assume that you have a medical requirement. Oh, no, I was just going. Very good, Lieutenant. Hey, what are you still doing here? Do you have a daring rescue to pull off? Well, I just thought I'd check in one last time before I left. Make sure you're really okay. Ah, you sweetie. But I'm fine, really. Totally fine. Not fine. I am currently under supervision to assess the extent of and potential causes of any ailments that I may be suffering from. However, my condition is currently stable and does not appear to be life-threatening. Yay! Although, I can think of something that could speed up my recovery. Your keycard? I don't actually have any chocolate for her. Oh yeah? What? It's nothing, actually. Don't worry about it. No, come on, tell me. No, really, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You focus on getting ready for your mission. Let's go get us some chocolate. As you walk by the mess hall, you stop to take a look inside. Everything seems to be operating as normal, with the lazy spinning of the extractor fan to the food vendor cycling through, illuminating its different options. At a table and facing away from you is Haru. You watch them as they idly swirl the contents of their cup of coffee before taking a sip. If they've noticed you, they aren't letting on, but from the looks of it, they seem deep in thought. You don't particularly have anything you want to ask them, but then again, you decide it may be good to check in before you head out. I'm not that hungry right now, but I bet I know who'd appreciate this. Silent voice. Excellent. You talk to Haru? Do people want to talk to Haru? Or should we save our time for talking with someone else, like the chief, for example, or the captain, or the gunner, or someone else? Might as well talk to Haru. All right, let's talk to Haru. Ensign Rumney. Oh, Denacia. What's going on? What's a hero like you doing stopping by the mess hall? Ansem told me he was taking you for a ride over to the O'Brien. You picking up snacks for the trip? I was just checking up on some of the crew before I left. Making sure everyone's doing okay. Oh, wow. What a professional. I'm doing alright. I was sleeping in my quarters when the power went out. Didn't even notice until Hanson started banging on my door. That's good. I'm glad you're doing okay. Yeah. Denasia. Yes, Ensign? Thanks for helping Hanson out. Oh, you know, it's my duty, right? Yeah, yes it is. Still, he's my flight partner. So if you did him a solid, you did me a solid. Keep it up. Maybe you aren't the coward we think you are. Haha! Lighten up, Lieutenant! Ah, jeez. Alright, Ensign. You're okay, and I'll leave you to it. Ah, don't be like that, Lieutenant. You just need to chill out. You need any help with that? You can stop by my quarters at any time. Alright, so let's move out. Central hub. Back to the stick bay. Here we go. Oh! You mean something like this? Oh, sorry, we're at the ad break, so we'll be right back for a moment, and we will be back for the final hour of the stream in a few minutes, alright? See you shortly. Alright, and we are back. Stories from Soul the Gundog. We all had a good break, and let's get back into the action, shall we? Alrighty then. Oh, you mean something like this? That's exactly what I was thinking of. Look at that. Since I'm so good at treatment, maybe I should consider a move to the medical corps. Now that I think about it, it might suit you. You always really liked that nurse uniform. Not around the doctor. Now that you've solved this medical emergency, You need to focus on getting ready for your mission. Get out there and nail it, Lieutenant Denacia. Yes, ma'am. Alright. So, aft thoroughfare. Is there anything we need in security, I wonder? I shouldn't need one since we're not expecting any trouble on the O'Brien. I'll take a standard issue one from the hangar instead. Oh, alright. Captain didn't order me to take anything from here, so we're not expecting trouble. Best to leave it alone. Fine. I'll be taking my standard issue sidearm with me to the O'Brien, so I don't need anything else from here. Hello, Sham. I want the armored one. Spacesuits for use by a security team member in the event of conflict. The ship's atmosphere has been compromised. Well, I thought I only had to use a suit to leave the ship. If I needed one whilst on board, well, probably not still be here to be thinking about it. Electroshock weapons and rounds. Nothing in there that I need right now. Collection of various small arms and light weaponry. I don't see these getting used anytime soon. Alright. Well, let's head to engineering. Maybe we can find out more about what's going on with Vanessa over there. Head to the hangar when ready to depart. Alright. Still weird how quiet this corridor is with the engines offline. Never thought I'd miss it, but I guess Cassie was right. Since the O'Brien's outage seems to have been caused by the same thing that caused ours, there shouldn't be any need to take any additional weaponry with me. Alright. As you make your way into the engineering section, you relish the various sounds coming from the now functioning machinery. The thrum of moving parts, the buzz of electrical systems, the repetitive pulse of various cooling systems. Hey there, TVPG! Is this Doki Doki Literature Club? No. This is actually Valhalla. Very close, though. Thank you very much for the continued subscription, though. I do appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. With your newfound appreciation for the activity taking place all around you, you wonder if this is how the Chief feels. On that subject, hey Chief, you around? You call out, doing your best to shout over the noise. Valhalla's awesome. Chief? You wait a moment, but get no response. Looking around, you can't see her anywhere. Must be in the engine room. Alright. Well, we'll have a look around first. The power distribution module? I know it charges things, that's for sure. One of the first things Dalton did after I restored the power was to swap out the batteries in the radio I'd been using for a freshly charged set and place the old ones on charge. Despite everything the Chief puts him through, at least he's got the makings of a fine engineer one day. So that's the life support. The close your eyes and snap your fingers a few times as you try to recall the function of the large piece of machinery that sits in front of you. Eventually, you give up, feeling like the answer is stuck somewhere in the back of your mind. If the Chief were here, you'd have no doubt been reminded before you even knew you'd forgotten. Life support. Central computer. It seemed for a moment like something had gone wrong with it, but so far everything seems alright. Doors to one of the engine rooms. That must be where the Chief is right now. I don't need those batteries for anything right now. Besides, I don't need to have the Chief on hand to tell me not to mess with anything around here. Whatever it is, I know what the Chief's response would be if she caught me changing anything on it. So, engines. Moving from the engineering section into one of the engine rooms, The first thing that strikes you is that the huge turbine-like machinery that fills the majority of the area is now still. You got so used to their constant motion and regular thrum that after your first few security reviews you'd stopped noticing it. But now that it was absent, the stillness of such a huge space made you uneasy. The only saving grace was that with the cavernous structure of the engine room no longer filled with the sound of the engines, you could hear the Chief's analytical monologue echoing across the expanse. You wouldn't have to do much more than follow it to its source to find her. Now that I think about it, it's actually kind of nice to stop by the engine rooms as part of my checks and just zone out watching the engines in motion. Without anything going on, such a huge space feels so empty and lifeless. There's no doubt the Chief's doing her best to get these online as quickly as possible. Getting in her way would probably be worse for my health than them remaining offline. So the detectors... So that's detectors 1 through 7 calibrated against the background gamma and signaling baseline. Now if I can... Hey Chief! How's it, And no blockages in the coolant flow. No warping in exterior heat sinks either. Chief! Oh! It's you, Lieutenant Denacia. Don't you have a mission to be getting ready for? Well, yes. I thought I'd check in on how you were doing before I had to leave. Oh! Well, everything's as fine as it can be down here. The loss of power didn't do any damage, as all the failsafes for a hard shutdown kicked in, so because of... not the, ship, Chief. I wanted to check in on you. I'm fine, Lieutenant. I just need to get these engines back online. I would have had them online already if Lieutenant Lord didn't have me waste all that time finding the O'Brien. Once I told her that we could find them using the infrared targeting sensors, she should have left it up to Gunner D's and let me get on with things. We've got back to figuring out what's causing the problems with our long-range communication system by now. Maybe even... That's something else I wanted to ask, Chief. What was happening between you and Lieutenant Lord on the bridge? I've seen what she can get like, but I didn't think she'd be that way in front of the captain. Alright, Lieutenant. You know what? I've seen what you'll do for this ship and the crew, so in my book, that makes you alright. So I'm going to let you in on a secret, in case you hadn't figured it out already. The only reason any of us are on this ship, because the JCF don't know what to do with us. Not bad enough to dismiss or court-martial, too much of a liability to crew anything important. And I know that includes me. As a Union woman, I've butted heads with enough of the brass that they've used every trick in the book to get me out of the way onto my last warning. She's a Union woman. Fuck yeah. Solidarity. So when Lieutenant Lord realized how pissed the captain would be that the engines hadn't been reactivated, he threatened to pin this whole mess on me. That ship report the decision to delay the engine's reactivation as mine if I didn't back up her story. The whole thing makes me sick. Some of us actually have important work to do and don't have time to be playing games with the crew to worm their way to the top. As much as I hate going along with it, I'm stuck for the time being. Jeez. I realized Vanessa could be so... Don't worry about me, Lieutenant. I'm a big girl. I can look after myself. I'll figure out some way to deal with her. You just worry about getting back from the O'Brien safely. You hear? Thanks, Chief. Don't mention it. Although, one thing, Lieutenant. Yes, Chief? Don't interrupt me when I'm clearly in the middle of something extremely important. Yes, Chief. Now get out of here. Yes, Chief. All right. Well, that confirmed a bunch of things that I suspected, certainly. So, Vanessa's just totally incompetent. Chooses to pin problems on everyone else. We can't trust her to run a fish and chip stand. Let's talk with the captain, shall we? Yes, Lieutenant? Can I help you? You'd thought you'd known what you wanted to ask the captain. Then the moment you find the words catch in your throat, and you're suddenly unsure of yourself. You've got a lot of questions and not a lot of time. It doesn't help. Some of these questions are more dangerous than others. I have a mission to prepare, and you need to be boarding that armored frame with Ensign Cruz soon. If you've got something to say, I suggest you do so quickly. I don't have a lot of time to complete this mission plan, so I can't talk with you for long. Based on the captain's terse response, you decide you should focus on the one thing that's most important to you right now. Ooh. I was hoping to be able to warn her that Vanessa might be up to something. What's the most important thing to ask here, I wonder? I mean, like, obviously he was here for the mission briefing, I guess. I'm not sure if it's... Like, we should probably talk about that, certainly. But... now might not be the best time? Or should we talk about the original mission? Though that might be wasting time. Let's... we'll go with original mission, I guess. You've not been giving this thought as much attention as some of the other matters that had felt more pressing, but with Cassie in the sickbay, the thought of the Gumdog remaining in what could be extremely dangerous territory didn't sit well with you. It's regarding our original mission. Based on current events, once we secure the O'Brien, what will our plan be? Well, Lieutenant, the Gumdog's task was to provide backup or support as necessary. So what happens to that plan largely depends on what's happened on board the O'Brien. If the crew are as resourceful as you and are alive and well, our task will be to get the O'Brien operational again. From there, we'll do our best to identify the source of whatever happened and alert JCFHQ. Of course, those on board the O'Brien weren't as fortunate as we were, and the threat posed to a single Swift class would be deemed too great and would make our report whilst heading back to more secure territory. meaning that if everyone on the O'Brien is dead, our mission is already over. Why do you ask, Lieutenant? Your stomach sinks as a sudden realization hits you. Once again, the outcome you find yourself hoping for the most is the one where you're kept away from the action by a turn of fate. Hold on a second, just need to blow my nose. Sorry about that. The back of my throat is annoying me. But for that to happen, it'd need to be like last time. You find yourself almost nauseated at the fact you trade the well-being of everyone on board the O'Brien for both yours and Cassie's safety. Despite that, you couldn't stop yourself from having that thought. Lieutenant Denacia? Oh, no particular reason, ma'am. Just looking to plan ahead. Very good, Lieutenant. Now, if you wouldn't mind, I've got a mission plan I need to complete. Of course, ma'am. Thank you. With that, you step away from the captain, who resumes inputting information into the control panel. Try to talk to her again. Does she refuse? Paused by the captain's chair, the pace at which your thoughts swung back and forth from hoping you find everyone on the O'Brien alive and well, to hoping the Gundog leaves the mission area as quickly as possible makes you nauseous. As you stand, lost in your thoughts, the captain eventually takes notice of you. Lieutenant, I would love to ask if there's anything I can help with, but I simply do not have the time. Oh, of course, Captain. Sorry. Dismissed. Alright. Anyone at the airlock? Doesn't seem like it. Dalton and I replaced all the panels I've removed during our sweep of the ship. Hopefully it doesn't need to be taken off again for a long time. It's reassuring to see everything back and running. Never thought I'd miss the glare of all these screens so much. Looking at the size of this thing, it still seems unreal that I opened and closed it, using just the emergency access lever. Credit to whoever designed that mechanism. After I got the power back online, one of the first things Dalton did was return the suit to its locker and replace the batteries on the radio. The Chief's got him well trained, that's for sure. No one here. I can get a suit from the hangar. These can stay where they are. Hopefully my trip to the O'Brien is the last time I need to leave the ship until we get back to Europa Colony. No need to mess around with this now. With the ship back up and running, I could just use the terminal to open the airlock. Not that I intend to spend any more time in space today than I need to. Doesn't seem like the reboot has revoked the access Cassie gave me. I can still look at the stars if I want to. Sure. I think I definitely prefer seeing them from the inside of the ship rather than the outside. Alright. Foreside. Fire control. As the door to fire control slides open, you're met with the familiar sound of titty music escaping from Dylan's oversized headphones, letting you know that the gunner is at his station. Looking around at all the illuminated screens and flashing readouts, it appears that everything here is back up and running as normal. Although there's so much information on display, You've got no idea if that's a correct assessment. Leaning slightly to catch a glimpse of Dylan, you can see that he's currently zoned out in appreciation of the track he's listening to, oblivious to your presence. Knowing that he would have recently had his personal sanctuary intruded upon by both Lieutenant Lord and the Chief, it feels cruel to disturb him, but your years of being a security officer kick in, and you find it hard to resist the urge to check in. Oh. What's that? Dran, thank you very much. Dr. Anime, rather. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the Fox Shrine. I hope you enjoy your stay. How you going? Hope you're doing alright. Dran, where did I get that from? Probably Gundam, right? All the monitors look like they're back up and running as usual. Although the Chief did mention that she hadn't managed to fix the long-range communication system yet. Hopefully, you don't need to send any important messages anytime soon. 8-ball. I wonder if Dylan brought that with him, or whether it was left behind by a previous crew member. There's no pool table on the Gundog, so either someone brought it on purpose or got lucky with an 8-ball that they were carrying around. Either one seems weird. Yeah, okay. The Chief mentioned that she'd been able to use the infrared targeting system to identify the O'Brien. Wonder which of these readouts it is. If we're using the targeting system to locate the O'Brien, we don't want to mess around with the controls and lose our lock on it. Dylan? Hey, Dylan? Yeah. Warrant Officer Dees. Dylan! Yes! Latest report! No update on the... Oh... Hey, Lieutenant. Sorry about that. I've just had, like, the Chief and the Lieutenant Lord, like, crammed in here with me shouting at each other about, like, finding the O'Brien. Lord wouldn't even let me perform the search with my headphones on. Against regulations. Like, it makes a difference to what I can see. I didn't sign up for that kind of stress. Anyways, what's up? Oh, nothing much. I just thought I'd check in on you. See how you were doing after everything. You know me, Lieutenant. Long as I get to listen to my music, it's all good. And, like, long as Lieutenant Lord never comes in here again, I guess. Ugh. What about you, Lieutenant? I heard that we got you to thank for getting the Gundog back on her feet. You doing alright? Yeah, I guess so. I've been too busy with running a sweep of the ship to stop and think about it, really. Well, with needing to do a spacewalk and all, rather you than me, Lieutenant. Closest I want to get to space is seeing it through these monitors. Yeah. Anyway, if it's okay with you, Lieutenant, I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on the O'Brien, and I was right in the middle of a gnarly Trish and the Replicant song. Mind if I get back to it? No? No problem. Take it easy, Gunadies. Thanks, Lieutenant. Alright. So... in my quarters? Yeah. Seems like it's all working like it's supposed to. Maybe the central computer always starts up like that. Okay. I think we just head to the hangar now, probably. Yeah, we'll head to the hangar. As the ship's gravity disappears, you slowly float down the final few steps, leading into the hangar. Oh, sorry. Let me, yeah, you can just go under there. Once your almost weightless feet connect with the steel flooring of the catwalk, you kick off it and towards the guardrail, grabbing it before you float past and bring yourself to a stop. Ahead of you are the typical sights of the hangar, but for the first time since you'd boarded the Gundog, its expanse is filled with noise and motion, rather than the usual near silence and stillness. You see Dalton floating from one segment of the furthest armored frame to another, clearly in the process of carrying out its pre-flight checks. As he arrives at each new part, he opens an access panel, checks the hidden machinery and mechanisms underneath, and then slams the panel closed, occasionally stopping to take one tool or another from his belt to apply adjustments to the frame's inner workings. Alongside the erratic slamming of panels and whirring of electronic tools coming from Dalton, you also hear the back and forth of bickering between Hanson and Vanessa. You watch as Hanson, donning his flight suit, snaps at the lieutenant, and then kicks off into the empty space of the hangar, swiftly followed by Vanessa, who does not let up on whatever it is she is trying to discuss. Glancing at your watch, you see that it's almost the scheduled time to depart and start the mission. No use putting it off any longer, I guess. Alright. Let's, look around first. Looks like Hanson's Juno has already been equipped for the mission by Dalton. If he wasn't so skittish, that kid would be a hell of an engineer. Checked over these recently with Dalton. Everything was accounted for, so there's no sign of unauthorized activity during the blackout. We'll be dispatched by the smaller hatches underneath the Juno, rather than the hangar door. This will be my first time going out in a Juno since the Kalik. I don't know whether it's better or worse that I won't be piloting it this time. Not that I did much piloting the last time around. I'm gonna save here, just so I don't miss out on any conversations here with people. Let's talk with Dalton. Doing your best to not draw the attention of the squabbling Hanson and Vanessa, you wait until Dalton turns your way and then wave at him, gesturing for him to come over to you once you've caught his attention. Hey Dalton, how are the preparations going? Oh, Lieutenant! Preparations are, at ease, Cadet. Yes, Lieutenant. Sorry, Lieutenant. Don't worry about it. Everything alright, though? Oh, yeah. Everything's fine, thanks. It's just that this is the first time I've actually had to prepare an armored frame for a real mission. Every other time has been for a drill or a test or something. I really don't want to screw it up. Hey, take it easy, Cadet. I'm sure you've done a good job. But what have I done something wrong? You and Ensign Cruz would... Slow down a second, Dalton. Sorry, Lieutenant. No problem, Cadet. Just take it easy. But tell me, have you ever screwed up any of your armored frame drills before? Well, no. Or any tests? No. I guess not. So why would you think you've done something wrong this time? I mean... I'm sorry. I guess I was just getting a bit nervous. It's alright, Cadet. We all get a bit nervous the first time we have to do something for real. But I've seen how hard you work and what the chief puts you through. So I'm sure you've got it all done up for her. I'm sure you've got it all done up to her standards. Thanks, Lieutenant. Although, he always makes me double-check the actuators. What have I forgotten? The actuators! Ah! Alright. We, try and talk with Hanson and Vanessa. As Hanson and Vanessa continue their argument, oblivious to your presence. You maintain your grip of the guardrail. It's almost time for the mission, so you can get ready to depart. If you got anything you want to do before you left, now would be the time. Was there anything I needed to do before I set off? I don't think so. I think I've done everything. Hold on. Don't leave yet. You drum your fingers slowly on the guardrail and glance back at your watch. It's getting close to the mission start time, but you still got long enough to catch up on some last-minute business. Spacesuits are by the entrance, and the chief will be getting me a fully charged PST, so I don't need to go searching through any of those crates. And since Juno's already been decked out, I want you to use this. Rather not go into space at all, but if I absolutely have to, I prefer to do it in an armored frame than sucked out through the hangar door. Hanson's someone who'll be piloting the Juno for this mission, not me. Should I be thankful about that? Alright. So we're probably good. I don't think there's anything else I need to worry about. Alright, let's depart. Although the prospect of the upcoming mission makes your stomach drop, you take a deep breath in, hold it briefly, and exhale slowly, calming yourself. Gathering up your resolve, you kick over to the storage lockers near the hangar entrance and remove a flight suit from one, pulling it over your normal uniform. It had taken you much longer to get the suit on earlier. Thanks to that unwelcome refresher, you now slide it on relatively effortlessly. After closing the clasps on the last of the suit's seals, you take the helmet from the locker and tuck it under your arm, turning back to face the main hangar. Hanson and Vanessa's bickering doesn't seem like it will end anytime soon. So, with a weary exhalation, you float forward, vault over the guardrail and kick off it, sending yourself towards Hanson's armored frame. Lieutenant Denacia, reporting for duty. You announce loudly as you grab onto the shoulder of the armored frame. Stopping in the middle of what she was saying to Hanson, Vanessa turns to face you. She then pushes off the hangar ceiling and heads towards you, not waiting to arrive in her lecture. You have recommendations, old anime series. Yes, is 80s opening, is wholesome and cute storyline is best ever. Name of the adventure is Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin. That's your recommendation to watch. I'll look it up. That's not what I was expecting. Alright. Anyway. Yeah, not meaning to arrive to begin her lecture. Yeah, good night, Kuro. Hey, Infernal, how you going? It's about time you arrived, Lieutenant. You're due to depart in a few minutes. What exactly do you think you're doing turning up this close to the mission start time? I'll remind you that I'm responsible for overseeing this assignment, so I won't have your lack of timekeeping impacting the outcome. Now, if... Before she can get much further into her tirade, Vanessa is cut off by Hanson, who floats in between the two of you and into the open cockpit of the Juno. Ensign Cruz, ready for departure. He states lazily, before disappearing into the armored frame, taking Vanessa's attention away from you and back towards him. And don't forget, Ensign, I'm counting on you. Vanessa calls into the cockpit. If Hanson answers, you don't hear it. Well then, Lieutenant, have you got everything you need for the mission? I don't see you carrying a PST or a guide from the Chief on removing the O'Brien's black box, didn't you? Hey, Lieutenant! The Chief's loud call comes from the hangar entrance, and you see her heading towards you with a large off-white object under her one arm and a manila folder in her hand. As she's halfway across, she launches the object at you. Although you manage to grab it with your free hand, its momentum pushes you back into the armored frame, and you hit it with more force than you'd expected. It takes you a second to recover, but once you do, you realize that the Chief's just pitched a briefcase-sized portable computer at you, the PST. Now we got the portable sub-terminal. By the time you're able to find its handle and get a grip on it, the Chief arrives at the Juno and holds onto the machine. I had to grab the one you'd left in engineering. I've charged it up, but these devices get pretty thirsty, so it took a while. And here's instructions for removing a black box. The O'Briens are swift like the gun dog, so there shouldn't be any difference in procedure as long as you follow this to the letter. Ignoring Vanessa, the Chief proffers a manila folder containing a few sheets of paper. Rearranging your hold on your helmet, the PST, and your grip on the armored frame, you just about manage to take the folder from her. Oh, she's not just a nerd. She's a fucking scheming, power-hungry, ladder climber, who's ready to throw everyone else under the bus in order to further her own career. Got the black box guide. You glance back to Vanessa, who hovers behind you, an increasingly deep scowl forming on her face. Before you have the opportunity to acknowledge the Lieutenant, the Chief lays a hand heavily on your shoulder, returning your attention to her and almost making you drop the folder. Don't forget, Lieutenant, the PST needs access verification to open doors, so your ID won't work on the O'Brien just because you've not been assigned to it. You'll need to use the ID of one of the O'Brien's crew to get anything working. Oh, right. Thanks for the heads up, Chief. That's the case. Would you mind hanging on to these until I get back? Sure thing, Lieutenant. Oh, the Chief is great. I like the Chief. She's a Union woman. And pretty competent as well. Anyway, I've got engines to be reactivating. Although I've already queued up the startup reaction, so now all I... Chief Engineer Cafes! Right. We've both got things to be getting on with. Good luck out there, Lieutenant. With a final pat on your shoulder, the Chief launches herself off the armored frame and back towards the hangar entrance. Chief Engineer Cafes! Vanessa yells whilst using you to pull herself forwards, her lower lip quivering with anger as she watches the Chief pass over the guardrail and towards the stairwell leading out of the hangar. Although she remains silent, you can see the rage building in Vanessa, her slight frame seeming as if it could explode at any second. As subtly as possible, you attempt to make your way to the Juno's cockpit without attracting her attention. You've already noticed that Dalton has disappeared from view, and you hope to achieve the same thing before the Lieutenant can direct her scorn at you. Unfortunately, as you lower yourself into the Juno's cockpit, the casing of the PST strikes the armored frame's surface, resulting in a loud clang that reverberates through the empty space of the hangar. Going somewhere, Lieutenant? Yep. Your mind races as you try to come up with a good way to extricate your way from the situation. The concept of getting into another fight with Vanessa right now is somehow even worse than the thought of sharing a cramped cockpit with Hansen. Lieutenant Denacia, heading out. Good luck with commanding the mission, ma'am. You announce, throwing the best salute you can manage considering how full your hands are. Get out of here, Lieutenant. Vanessa hisses, turning her back to you and launching herself off the armored frame and towards the hangar entrance. Watching her float away, you breathe a sigh of relief, thankful that you managed to avoid another conflict with her. Turning towards the cockpit entrance, you make your way inside, pulling the lever that closes the hatch behind you. With the hatch closed, all you can hear is a gentle hum of the frame's subsystems. Once inside, your eyes quickly adjust to the low light, with the only sources of illuminations being the occasional backlit dial or readout. You pause for a moment and grit your teeth. It was the first time in years that you'd been inside the cockpit of an armored frame. Might be a newer model, but it was pretty much exactly how you remembered it. Snapping back to the present, you do your best to head off the thoughts that you know will follow your reminiscing by taking a look around the cockpit to see where you would be sitting. Although the majority of a Juno's cockpit is taken up by the pilot's seat, which sits in the center, mounted on a series of shock absorbers, there is space on either side, which allows for the addition of a temporary passenger's seat to be mounted on the pilot's. Sure enough, Dalton has attached this fixture onto the right-hand side of the seat currently occupied by Hansen. You stash the PST and the file the Chief gave you at the rear of the cockpit. Once they're out of your hands, you pull on your helmet, fastening your suit's final seals, and then strapping yourself into the passenger seat. Whilst you do up the buckles, you look across at Hansen. You realize he hasn't said a single thing since you entered the cockpit. You've been too preoccupied with getting away from Vanessa to notice, but now that you're actually paying attention to the ensign, you see that his chest is rapidly rising and falling with every breath. On top of that, his hands both grasp the flight sticks, squeeze them tightly and release them, a motion he repeats over and over. Despite the fact you're looking right at him, he hasn't noticed you. Instead, his focus seems purely on the monitor in front of him. Hey, Ensign Cruz. Are you, okay? There's a slight delay, but a second after you ask, Hansen releases his grip on the flight sticks and turns to face you. The intense expression he'd just had suddenly replaced by his normal countenance. What? I was just asking if you were okay. Of course I'm okay. What are you talking about? We're not all cowards like you, can't even launch an AF. You take a deep breath in and exhale slowly as you look away. You weren't sure what you'd been expecting, but at least Hansen seemed like his normal self. Like, oh, he definitely has PTSD. I'm not sure if you have seen, like, the previous parts of this game or anything like that. But, like, he spent, like, half a day or something like that in an armored frame, fighting off superior enemy numbers, darting in between like debris in order to survive a battle in his, I assume, his first battle as well. He was the only survivor of his squad, except for myself, who did not launch because of mechanical failure. And he blames me for that, even though I'm not at fault. He's nuts him, so he gets mad enough to forget he has it. Thankfully, any follow-up from him is cut off by Vanessa's face appearing on the comm screen and her voice on the frame speakers. Gundog 1, this is Lieutenant Lord. It's 16:30 Jovian Standard, and the mission has begun. Please confirm you're ready for launch. Copy that, Lieutenant Lord. This is Ensign Cruz in Gundog 1. All systems ready for launch and waiting on authorization. Understood. Authority granted. Stand by whilst you're transported for takeoff. Although the Juno's monitors haven't turned on yet, you can tell that the reverberations you feel are coming from it being lowered from the hangar and out of the underside of the ship. Activating all systems. Now. All at once, the monitors come to life, illuminating you and Hansen with their glow. Gundog 1, ready. Gundog 1, releasing restraints. Gundog 1, launching. Once the armored frame is free of its restraints, Hansen slams the flight sticks forward in unison, sending the Juno hurtling away from the Gundog and causing it to shake with acceleration. As the cockpit shudders, you unconsciously grab onto the straps keeping you in the passenger seat and squeeze them tightly. With the frame continuing to accelerate, you do your best to keep a neutral expression. Despite this, Hansen looks across to you and notices your grim appearance. What's the matter, Lieutenant? Feeling flight sick already? No. Fine. You lie. Sure. Just sit back and watch how a real pilot handles an AF. AF these nuts! Got him! Although you'd thought Hansen had launched at maximum thrust, he somehow manages to find an extra burst of acceleration, causing the cockpit to shake further, doing nothing to help the nausea you feel. If you throw up, Lieutenant, your helmet stays on. Eventually, Hansen eases up on the acceleration and the juddering stops. Although you're still slightly nauseous, you slowly begin to feel less like the little food that you've had time for today will be reappearing inside your helmet. As the Juno continues to cruise forwards, you and Hansen both sit in the near silence of the cockpit. No real indication of distance between you and the O'Brien, or the speed you're traveling. It's difficult for you to keep track of time, and the journey drags on. There's no way for you to be exact. It feels like at least half an hour has passed, and neither of you saying anything. Eventually, the oppressive silence, combined with your increasingly desperate desire for a distraction, forces you to think about something you'd never thought you'd do. Willingly start a conversation with Hansen. Let's talk about Haru, shall we? What about Haru? How long have you known Haru? What are you asking? I'm just asking how long you've known Haru. Why? Are you into them? What? No! I was only... Oh man. I can't believe you're into Haru. They're gonna love this. I'm not into Haru. Does Quinn know? Ensign? Oh man, maybe she does. Maybe that's why you're asking. Damn, no wonder you're asking. I knew you two were both freaks. Just shut up, Ensign Cruz. So, you start before trailing off quickly as Hanson doesn't acknowledge you at all. How long have you been on the Gundog? Hanson gives you the briefest flicker of acknowledgement, but doesn't take his eyes off the main monitor. What? I was just asking how long you've been stationed on the Gundog. Why? You're only seconds into this conversation and it's already one you're beginning to regret. I just, thought I'd ask. I heard people talking about your piloting and... Yeah? Well, people can say whatever they like about my piloting. Doesn't make a difference because I've been stuck on this joke of a ship for a year. Not that it matters. Every other pilot in the JCF is doing nothing but drills right now. Who cares where I am? A fresh, uncomfortable silence hangs in the air between the two of you as you mentally scramble for a response. So, what are you doing on this ship anyway? How'd you screw up? Your first instinct is to fire back that you aren't a screw-up like him. But you know you can't admit that Cassie had your transfer put through as a favor without the risk of it getting back to Vanessa. I didn't screw anything up. I just got transferred here short notice to fill the role. That's all. Whatever, Lieutenant. You don't get dumped on the Gundog unless you've screwed up or are detective. So what was it? Neither! Yeah, sure. Oh well, let's just double check. Yeah, so just repeat, sorry, leave it. You know what? I think here, after this conversation with Hanson, is a good point to leave things off for the night. So we'll save the game here. Oh, sorry, erased. We're just wrapping up for the night, unfortunately. God, I hate it. I hate when you people join in, and and I'm just wrapping up. But we are streaming more, not tomorrow, but the next day. If you wanna check in, however. And I do have my VODs uploaded on YouTube, so you can check those out as well if you want. Like, I'm really sorry, but yeah, just unfortunate timing. I do have a stream that I'm doing, like, in, what is it? I suppose, like, 13 hours as well of Metaphor, so I've gotta get some rest and then do that. But yeah, that's where we're wrapping up for the night. Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. Again, I'm really sorry about that. I hate that. But congratulations on getting like the physical copy though. Like that sounds awesome. The game is totally worth it so far from what I've been playing. I'm really enjoying Gundog. It's incredibly well done. And I urge everyone in chat to buy the game themselves, not just watch this stream. So, as I was sort of mentioning, I am doing a stream, my first stream of Metaphor ReFantazio tomorrow at 1 p.m. AEDT. So that's 11 hours, sorry, 13 hours from now. So look forward to that. And the next day, we'll be doing some more Gundog. So look forward to that. That's going to be at 9 p.m. AEDT. As for the rest of the week, on the weekend, we will be doing some Super Robot Wars X. So look forward to that as well. Alright? So, we are going to go and look for somebody to raid right now. Let's see. Who is streaming what at the moment? Let's see. Let us go and raid. I don't think I've raided Seraphina for now, for a little bit, so let's go and raid her. Seraphina is playing the Legend of Heroes. Trails through... Sorry, it's cutting off. One of the Trails games. I think it's the second Trails game. So yeah, let's pop in over there and go say hello, shall we? I have to start getting ready for bed and rest my voice a little bit. Turns out visual novel streams do take it out of you, and I'm still coming down from a cold. So thank you very much as always, and I hope to see you all next time. Okay? See ya!